Hi there. Welcome to Convos Coffee Cocktails. How's
All the
everybody doing
things.
today? That's right. So I'm Kelly D. This is Dr. B. So welcome. So we've kind of got a cool topic for this week and crafting our bucket list. So both Dr. B and I are kind of organizing, strategizing some getaways. Dr. B with her partner, her man, and for me, I'm doing a girlfriend's getaway coming up soon. So I'm really looking forward to that and just how important it is to reconnect with our loved ones,
Yeah.
with our friends, with our family, and how important it is to rejuvenate ourselves, right?
Oh
So with
yeah.
that, I will let Dr. B chat about her upcoming love getaway.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, so just gonna start it off right here, you guys. The other day, I said we were going away, and somebody goes, "Oh, a sexcation," and I was like, I mean, that probably happens while we're away, but it could happen any night, any day. Like, it's not like we don't
It
ever
doesn't
have
have to
sex and
just
then we
happen
just
then.
have sex then. Right? So it was really funny because it got my brain going, wait, what just happened?
Does that really happen?
I mean, I guess there's people out there that probably have a relationship that maybe they're just not intimate very often. And so those getaways really, but then I almost feel like, wouldn't there be more stress around it? Like, don't you have to plan
Or
differently?
like the planners every Thursday between 8 and 10. Can you imagine?
Window washing on Thursday at 6 o'clock. Right.
Can
I
you
get it.
imagine
We have
that?
busy lives. People are stressed. You got kiddos that don't go to bed till late. You got kiddos that cry in the middle of the night. Like, I get it. But I was like, no, we can have sex whenever we want. Like, I mean, will we have sex? Well, I actually might be on my menstrual cycle, so we probably won't sex if, right? But anyway, enough of that.
There is
So
the shower.
true, true. Um, so yeah, for us, this is like, oh, so much has come around from this. It was this idea. This is our third year being intentional about this. So we had sat down and we were going through our bucket list, like just reconnecting as a couple. Like, what are some of your desires? What are some of your desires? What does this look like? How can we create a vision board around the bucket list? So, for my husband, a lot of it was like a South African safari, a trip to the Galapagos, like all of these, I'll say trips, but like out and about, right? And I was just kind of like, your mom would like to go because his mom is super adventurous like that. And I was just like, I don't know if a South African safari sounds like something I want to do. Didn't mean to squash it, but I was just kind of like, oh, so not a desire that I have, right? And that's okay. Would I still go? Probably. But his mom would love to go. Anyway, beside the point. Squirrel. So we got all of his, like, he just kept like, these are some things, right? So let's say he has like 5 things that are on his bucket list. And he's like, well, what about you? And I was like, well, I want to finish my first book. I want to, da 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 with the clinic. And it was more of these like achievements versus like these outwardly, let's go on a vacation idea. Right. And so he said, well, is there anything you want to do that's more vacation type idea? And I thought about it and I was like, yes, I want a weekend away. One, if not two, two would be ideal. One would be awesome with you every year. And just for us to reconnect, reboot, just maybe we would talk about our goals. Maybe we just walk in silence and take a nice hike. And there's so many cool things to do here in Idaho that are within like a couple hours away. Um, and I would really love like a girls' getaway every year. Aside from that, I don't really have any like bucket list desires. And so the next week he came home and he said, hey, I got us an Airbnb. It's in this place called Sun Valley. So it's about a 3 hour drive here in Idaho, but it's a small ski town, but it's very celebrity-esque when it's in high season. And so we just did this quaint getaway, got an Airbnb, went on some hikes, sat at a coffee shop for a while, Went and we always do one nice dinner kind of as like an anniversary dinner, if you will. And otherwise we were just like slumming it, and just kind of winged it for the weekend. And it was just so freeing. And I think one of the big things was being away from our day-to-day environment. Like this year we're saving for Disney World. And so he had mentioned like, hey, why don't we do a staycation? And I was like, know how I feel about that. So I sat with it for a few days and I was
You're
like,
that's a hard
no,
no.
I will still want to do laundry. I will still want to, give the dog a shower, vacuum, like all the, like, I just want to be energy out of this house. And I love our house. We are so blessed. But I was like, no, I would really, we can keep it as simple as possible, like we typically do, but like, please, 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 let's go away. And so that's what we're doing coming up is we're getting away this weekend. And we are doing a cabin. We moved it back a few weeks from our annual time just so that the weather would hopefully be a little bit more sunshiny and beautiful and we can spend more time outside. So that's our plan.
Nice.
What
That
do you
sounds
think?
like fun.
It does
I
sound
think that
like
sounds
fun.
awesome.
And it's not a sexcation. It's our
Well, it
intentional
could be if
getaway.
you want it to be.
It's our intentional getaway. Sorry, honey,
Yeah.
we're talking about sex here.
He
knows
so
me.
yeah, so I live on Vancouver Island in Victoria in Canada, British Columbia. And so because I live on an island, we're surrounded by other smaller islands. So there's one place that I like to go to quite a bit. It's called Salt Spring Island, and it's a 20-minute ferry ride, and it's absolutely fantastic because you get to see like seals, otters, like sometimes there's a dolphin lingering around. So it's
That's
a fabulous,
cool.
like little fun 20-minute getaway. But on the island, there's a cidery there. I don't know if you like cidery, but cider, I should say. And it overlooks this beautiful acreage, like all the orchard and everything of where the apples are fermented and everything. But it's absolutely fantastic, breathtaking spot. So you get a flight. So I went with some girlfriends last year, and we got a flight of the different types of cider. Of course, we were half in the bag by the time we left. But
let me try these. I like them all. Give me more.
Yeah, I'll have some of that. So $100 later, no, but they have like
hashtag worth
delicious. I know. Oh yeah, totally. So we had lunch, of course, and they had this beautiful like a fig kind of topping for the cheese and the canapé and all that kind of stuff. It was absolutely delicious, which I crave all the time. But we ended up making a weekend of it, and we went and we stayed at a B&B. We went to get massages and the whole thing. So we had like the best impromptu time.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great. It was fabulous. But it goes back to where, those little mini getaways doesn't have to be overnight. It just could be an afternoon. In my case, with my group of friends, because I don't have a partner yet. And but you still need that time to reconnect, like with your friends, with Mother Earth, just kind of recalibrating your own kind of your self-care in a way, right? Because you're spending that time literally not thinking about the kids or work or your career or finances or your body or anything of that nature. It's all about self-care and being in that moment and enjoying what's happening and being adventurous, maybe stepping out of your comfort zone, right?
Yeah, I love that. And it's just such a reminder, one, that we're worth it, right? And the other thing that came up while you were talking was this idea, and this was for us too, when Chris came home and he's like, hey, I scheduled it. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Already in the books. It's already there. Like everything else will fall into place around it, but like you've got to schedule it. So, if it's been years, especially with like COVID having, really been a prominent thing, like if it's been a long time or you haven't gotten back to that, let me get away, let me go do this thing for myself, like now's the time to do it, but like get it on the calendar. Make the plans.
And I'm not saying everybody is financially able, but I mean, my God, you could, like, we have so many gorgeous parks here too. Like, you could pack up a picnic and just go
Yeah.
to a beautiful park for the weekend, just for the afternoon, and just have a picnic, play frisbee, bring your dog, bring your neighbor's dog, whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's creating that, like, that time for yourself of self-care, and
Mhm.
that's really what it's all about,
Mhm.
like crafting your own sort of bucket list in a way of, okay, what are some things outside of achieving that I want
Yeah.
to create, right? So
Yes.
more time for self-care, more time to reconnect with my partner, my lover, my friends,
Hmm.
more time to connect
Self.
with
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. And I think too, defining, like getting into the definition of, so if we're saying more time with myself or more time with my partner, what does that mean? Like, can you get more definitive on what the meaning of that is? Is it 10 hours a year? Is it once a month? Is it,
Hmm.
a trip away once a month? And does that trip,
Yeah,
what's the minimum? That trip is a trip to the park, and for 4 hours, it's just the two of us on a blanket eating a picnic. Or
yeah,
is it me going for a walk? Like yesterday, I leashed up the dog, and, it was a bit rainy here, but like everything is in bloom and it's stunning. And we have all of these walkways around our area. And I was like, the boys were busy doing their thing. I'm like, I'm taking this 30 minutes because I knew we were going to exercise in the garage at 10:30. So I was like, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to go for a walk, and I'm going to walk as slow or as fast as I want. I'm just going to take care of me.
yeah,
Right.
for sure,
And just
100%.
breathe. And like the dog he doesn't require much, but I wasn't choosing to take a person because I wanted
Yeah.
to just be, I wanted
Hmm.
to look at all the ducks and watch them swim and sit by the waterfall for 5 minutes if that's what I wanted to do. So, but it's knowing, I think if we can kind of like, yes, can we create a bucket list? Sure. And we're encouraging you to do that. But when you're in the bucket list, kind of like a vision board, right? What, like, can you define, like, I want more money. Well, what does more money mean? Is that $1,000 a month? Is it $10,000 a month? Like, what does that look like? Right. So really getting into defining, creating that vision around it. So having that idea of how it feels to be there. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
now
sure.
know how it feels to go away on this weekend trip, especially because we've done it. So I know what that feels like, and I know how refreshing it is for us.
Yeah.
So I've been looking forward to it for months. Like, babe,
And
we
that
need to do this twice a year.
anticipation. Yeah,
Totally.
like that
Totally.
anticipation, right? Of
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
getting away somewhere, even if it's
Hmm.
for the day. And, again, like I bring up the financial aspect of it, if you
Hmm.
can, like, put away $10 a week or
Hmm.
$10 a month and make that time, okay, like whatever time of year it is for you at that time, and just randomly making up a month. But say, next May, I'm going to do this,
Hmm.
whatever it is, whatever
Hmm.
you can afford. But putting that time aside, like you said, the finances, right? And
Hmm.
really getting out of your comfort zone, actually, and
Yeah.
creating an adventure, crafting your own bucket list of
Hmm.
things that are not to achieve, but to help you in your everyday alignment and with your self-care,
Yep.
because we need those little getaways, whatever it
Yeah.
is. We need
Yeah.
those, like that time out of our regular boring routines, right?
My routine's not boring. What are you talking
It
about?
is.
My
All of our
mother-in-law,
routines are.
yeah. Really? Because the routine is
Yeah,
boring?
because it's the same thing all the time, right? Sometimes it's nice to jar it
I
up.
don't think it's
I'm all about
boring.
that.
My
Let's
mother-in-law
do that.
is fantastic about going off and doing adventures on her own. Like, I envy that in her. Like, a couple weeks ago, she basically said, "Oh, I'm going to the opera tonight." And I was like, "Wonderful." And she said what time, and are you going with anybody? Oh no, I'm just going. I'm like, good for you. That's so great, right?
But she knows the secret, right? That's the secret
Mm-hmm.
that keeps
Mm-hmm.
her rejuvenated. It keeps her in alignment with her soul, and it keeps
Yeah,
her in that mode of self-care, right? And she's
exactly.
fun, and she's probably like a better grandma, better wife, better mother, better mother-in-law, and everything else, because she makes that time for herself. And we've talked about that so many times in
I
terms of the
know. It's
self-care,
so
but
true though.
it always comes into our, like into our themes in a way, and into our topics, because it is really
Mhm,
so important for us to contribute to our own self-care, like every day, once a
mhm.
month, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So true. Yeah. So many things come up with that, right? It's like being able to use your voice to ask for what you want, especially if you are doing it with someone else.
Yeah,
The financial piece, of course, some people, for whatever reason, there's so many millions and gazillions of reasons, aren't willing to invest in the, or choose not to, or whatever, invest in themselves. But like Kelly is saying, like, you could simply put away $10 a week, and 6 months from now, right, you have a little money to play with, and you can go
that's
get
right.
a cheap, 1 bedroom Airbnb, or you can go camping, or you can
Yeah.
go to the opera, or whatever that is for you, right?
Don't
So it
put
doesn't
it
have to.
on a bill. Don't
Mhm,
pay a bill with it.
mhm.
The
Yeah.
bill will be there when you get back,
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but your
but but
sanity
it's,
won't be.
and that's not to
True.
say that that's the only time that you take care of yourself. If you've been
No.
following us, you know that we are adamant about like the constant,
Yeah,
maintenance, the constant realignment, recalibration, and
that's
just
right.
that ability to be able to just maintain, like a car, right? Like, I'm all about the
Yep.
analogies, like a car. Like, I put gas in my car, so my car drives, right? But every once in a while, every so many miles, I got to take it in and get the oil changed. And then every so many miles, the tires rotated. And then 30,000, 60,000 miles, I'm getting, the belts changed. I'm getting a big reboot. And there's
Hmm.
sometimes we need that, right? And then there's the other times
Maintenance.
where just those maintenance. But if you don't put gas in your car, you're not going to be able to drive it. So if you don't put gas in your system, which is, how do you nourish yourself? How do you refill? How do you reboot? And then
That's right.
you can drive, right? And show up and do all
Exactly.
the things. So, yeah.
100%.
So be a car.
Be the driver of your car.
There you go. Ooh, I like that. Be the driver of your car and practice the pause, right?
That's right. So our next round will be the same topic, but maybe some tools and some fun ideas that you maybe didn't think of, and how important it is to incorporate your own crafting of your bucket list in every
Yeah.
day.
Okay. Thanks for being here, you guys. We will see you next week.
We'll see
Have a
you
good
soon.
one. Bye.
Ciao.